सर्वेभ्यो नमः, श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः, सर्वेभ्यः श्रोतृभ्यश्च नमः. Whatever Gauri ji said in the introduction about me is there is a concept in the Shastras, Arthavada. Arthavada means just to make people to get involved. Actually, it is not true. So, whatever she said, it is driven by the affection and love she has in me, so on me. So, and once again, I extend my gratitude to Gauri ji for inviting me in this much appreciated lecture series, Ola. And so, let me start. So, I'm very glad to share a few aspects or a few thoughts with you all, whatever I could learn as a student of Jyotisha in past few years. So, let me start with the introduction. So, the first point we will discuss, Jyotisha, what we call it as Vedanga. So, Vedanga means, which helps in understanding the meaning of the Vedas, or which helps to perform the sacrifices or anything prescribed by the Vedas. So, let us see, if you call Jyotisha as Vedanga, so how does Jyotisha help the Vedas? So, and let us find how Jyotisha Jyotisha born and evolved in the earlier period. In Vedic era, Jyotisha was needed to acquire appropriate time for the monthly and seasonal rites. So, Vedic texts prescribe some monthly and seasonal rites. For example, you can see here, it is a mantra. It says, Darsha Purnamasa Bhyam Yajeta. So, it says, it actually prescribes two sacrifices. One is Darsha, other one is Purnamasa. Darsheshti and Purnamaseshti. Many other sacrifices also have been prescribed. So, I have taken one example here. So, it says that one should perform Darsha Yaga and one should perform Purnamasa Yaga. So, when it should be performed? So, the term itself says this Darsha means Amavasya. So, actually the meaning of the term Darsha means, Darsha actually the root is Drish, to see. But the day, Darsha means Amavasya, the day when we cannot see the moon. So, the etymology of this word is Drishyete Surya Chandrau Ekasthau Atra iti Darshaha. So, the day when Surya and Chandra stay together, that day is called as Darsha. Darsha means a new moon day, and Purnamasa. Purnamasa means the day when moon becomes Purna. So, that is full moon day. So, these rites, these are monthly rites and sacrifices, and we should perform these sacrifices on these days only. You cannot perform Darsha Yaga on Ashtami or Navami or whenever you become free. And so now I must know when this Darsha day occur, or when does this Purnamasa day occur. So I should know. If I don't know this time, then I cannot perform these sacrifices on time. So this is one thing. And some seasonal rites, so here it is explained, Vasante Brahmano Agnimadadhita, Grishme Rajanyaha Sharadi Vaishyaha. So it says that Agnyadhana is one of the duties one should perform. So according to the Varna system, that Brahmana should do that Agnyadhana in Vasanta Rutu. And Rajanya, Kshatriyas should do this in the Grishma Rutu. And Vaishyas should do in Sharad Rutu. So, these are the seasonal rites. So, Darsha Purnamasa is monthly rite, and this is a seasonal rite. So, we should know the time well in advance to perform these rites and rituals at time, on time. So, this is one need. And another need of this Shastra is to know various seasons for sowing and reaping. So, this is for the Dharma Karma, or to perform the duties prescribed by the Vedas. So, this is for all people. This is required for all people. You must know the seasons for these agricultural activities. Therefore, this Shastra means there was a need of a particular Shastra which actually deals with the time or computation of time. So this is, let me skip this one. So it actually gives the list of 6 rutus and 12 months, 12 lunar months. That Madhuscha, Madhavascha, Vasantika, Vrutu. Madhu and Madhava. These are the earlier names of the months. Now we name it as Chaitra, Vaishakha and all. So Madhu means Chaitra, Madhava means Vaishakha, and Shukra, Jyeshtha, Shuchi means Ashadha. So these are the names available in the Vedic texts. So it is just to show the seasons how given in the Vedas. So here Lagadha is the author of Vedanga Jyotisha. Here you can find the relevant, or he actually states the need of Jyotish Shastra like this: Vedahi yajnartham abhipravrittaha kalanupurvya vihitascha yajnaha. So he says the Vedic lore prescribes sacrifices to be performed. Vedahi yajnartham abhipravrittaha. And these sacrifices are based upon a knowledge of appropriate time. Kalanupurvya vihitaha. They must be performed in that particular time. And tasmadidam kala vidhana shastram. So this science of astronomy gives a knowledge of time. So he says that what is the purpose of this shastra? This is kala vidhana shastram. So it gives the knowledge of time. And yo jyotisham veda saveda yajnan. The one who knows the jyotisha only knows the yajnas. So if you don't know jyotisha, you cannot perform the yagas and you cannot follow the Vedic lore completely. So in this way, the Jyotish Shastra finds its importance and it finds its place in the Vedangas also. So, and you can see another beautiful expression given by Lagadha. Yatha shikha mayuranam, like the crests on the heads of peacocks. Naganam manayo yatha, like the gems on the hoods of the cobras. Tadvad Vedanga Shastranam Jyotisham Murdhani Sthitam. So the same way, this Jyotisha is at the top of the Vedanga Shastras. So beautifully he actually emphasized on the importance of the Jyotisha. And another beautiful thing is, Tadvad Vedanga Shastranam Ganitam Murdhani Sthitam is another patha. So actually, the major purpose of this Shastra is computation of the time. So it is, so a lot of mathematics related things also come, no? So he says, Ganitam Murdhani Sthitam. Therefore, I have written here as, or mathematics. So mathematics is at the top of the Vedanga Shastras. And another thing you can see here, in Sanskrit, Ganaka means Jyotishika. So Ganaka means Ganana, one who calculates. So, or one who computes. So Ganaka means Jyotishika. And an astrologer might be. So sometimes I don't want to go to the translation because translation actually misleads us. So Jyotishika means not only astrologer, he has little broader this thing. So the major purpose, as I explained, is actually fulfilled with the knowledge of astronomy. And once again, here he says it is mathematics also. So in this way, Indian astronomy and mathematics finds its origin in the Vedas itself. And we can see the first text, as I have given some references here, that this is from Lagadha, Vedanga Jyotisha of Lagadha, that I will explain later. About the text I will explain later. Now, let us see why this Shastra is named as Jyotisha. So, the purpose, as he said earlier, Tasmadidam Kala Vidhana Shastram. This is a Shastra to determine the Kala, isn't it? To calculate or to compute the time. So then something like, it should be named something like Kala Vidhana Shastram or Kala Shastram, something like that. Why it is named as Jyotish Shastra? So the answer is, this time computation is based on various positions and conjunction of the celestial bodies. So whatever time computation we do, or whatever now let me give you a couple of examples. So tithi, or we find some terms, tithi, nakshatra, or masa, rutu. So everything, whatever is the part of time, whatever we name, so everything is depending upon the celestial bodies only. Let me give an example. So what does a Chandramasa mean? Means the months, lunar months, Chaitra, Vaishakha, what we say. So the lunar month, a lunar month is the duration between the two conjunction of sun and moon. So when a lunar month begins, Amavasya, after Amavasya, a new month starts, no? So tomorrow is Amavasya, and Saturday, our Navaratrotsava also begins with. So Saturday is Pratipat, no, means tomorrow is Amavasya. So tomorrow this month gets finished, and so another interesting thing is Amavasya word also. Ama means together. Vasya means Vasa, Nivasa. So the day when sun and moon stay together, that day is termed as Amavasya. See, the names also are very beautiful. So from one Amavasya to another Amavasya. See, here two celestial bodies, the sun and the moon, have been taken to determine the lunar months. So from one Amavasya to second Amavasya, one lunar month is considered as one lunar month. And what does Tithi mean? Today we say that it is a Trayodashi Tithi, and Trayodashi Upari Chaturdashi also is there today. So what does this Tithi means? Prathama Tithi, Dvitiya Tithi. Tithi is a period of time during which the angle between the sun and moon increases by 12 degrees. So as I said, so on the day of Amavasya, sun and moon stay together. Actually, they don't stay together because sun is very close to the earth and moon actually is a little away from the earth. But when you see from the earth, the angle, based on the angle, it looks like they are staying in a same position. So, and moon actually moves faster, sun little slower. So per day, moon actually moves 30 degrees. And per day, sun moves only approximately, what I am saying, explaining, sun moves only 1 degree. So the difference between sun and moon becomes 12 degrees in the next day, on the next day. So when Amavasya, when sun and moon stay together, at that time only, very next minute that this Pratipat Tithi starts, and that entire duration should be called as Pratipat. And when their difference becomes 12 degrees, this Prathama Tithi got finished and Dvitiya Tithi got started. So in this way, 12, 24, in this way if you go, 12 into 30, it becomes 360 degrees. So isn't it? In a month there are 30 days. In a lunar month there are 30 days. One day, one lunar day, one tithi means 12 degrees. The difference between sun and moon is 12 degrees. So 12 into 30, it becomes 360 degrees. So the next Amavasya, on the next Amavasya, again sun and moon will be on the same position. You can check on YouTube. You will find very interesting videos also to understand this better. So whatever time we determine, we compute, is based on the positions or conjunction of the celestial bodies. So what are the celestial bodies? The term Jyotisha means those celestial bodies. So Jyotish, Jyotihi means Prakasha, right? So Jyotish means here the natural Prakasha, so which is celestial bodies. All other are artificial. So Jyoti Imshi Graha Nakshatra, the celestial bodies, natural Jyotis are two types only. One is Graha, planets, other one is Nakshatra, stars. So this Shastra is based on the various positions and conjunction of the various celestial bodies. Therefore, this Shastra is termed as Jyotisha. You can call it as Jyotisha or Jyotisha also. Both are fine. But don't, in Karnataka, many people call it as Jyotishya. This Yakara doesn't come. So don't use don't pronounce it like this. That Jyotisha or Jyotisha, or you can say Jyotish. Shakara is there, no? Jyotish Shastra. It becomes Jyotish Shastra. So these three terms can be used. And our Srinathji told me that in Kerala, usually they pronounce it as Jyotishastra. That second Shakara, only one Shakara can be heard. It should be Jyotish Shastra is a better pronunciation. Somewhere, some people they may say. So let me explain another thing here. So now, this is a common question. Why you call moon as a graha? Isn't it? According to the modern astronomy, moon is a satellite. And why do you call the sun as graha? Because sun also is a star, according to modern astronomy. So see the definitions here. What does a nakshatra mean? Naksharati iti nakshatram, which doesn't move. What does a graha mean? Grinhati nakshatrani. Bhani means nakshatrani, which moves and catches different stars. That is graha. So grahanam means to catch. So the one which moves, which keeps moving and catches various stars, that is graha. Okay. So Jyotishi Graha is the Vyakarana Sutra. So, so there are two types of celestial bodies. One which moves and another which doesn't move. We actually categorize it in two ways only. So according to us, whether it orbits, means the moon orbits around the sun or the earth, it doesn't matter to us. We just want to, see that whether it moves or not. If it moves, then it is graha. If it doesn't move, it is nakshatra. So if you translate graha as planet, and if you apply the modern definition, what actually planet does mean, then you will be under problem. So therefore, I always say that don't translate. But actually, earlier definitions of the planet is according to our definition only. In modern astronomy, they actually came up with some different definitions. Okay. So, and now, again, you can ask that how sun moves. Actually, sun doesn't move, no, according to. Therefore, I have quoted this word, this sentence from Shankaracharya. This is very beautiful. Satyanrate dve mithuni kritya vartate lokayatra. So, Satyam and Anritam, Satyam and Asatya, dve mithuni kritya. This Satya and Asatya, Satya and Mithya are a beautiful couple. And dve mithuni kritya, mithunam means a couple, right? Mithuni kritya lokayatra pravartate. Our day-to-day life is mixed of Satya and Mithya. So if you want to give an award for the best couple, in some Adarsha Dampati competitions will be there, no? So best couple in the world, who are the best couple? This Satya and Mithya. In Vyakarana, at the end, Vakyapadiyakara, Bhartrihari says, Padena Varna Vidyante. At the end, whatever we say, suffix, prefix, this and that, noun, verb, this and that. So at the end he says, there is a sentence, Ramo Gramam Gacchati. We get the Shabda Bodha, we get the meaning of that entire sentence. This much only Satya. Then whatever I say that Rama is the subject and Grama is the object and this one, everything is Mithya. At the end he says. So then what is the need of learning all this Mithya? To understand such things, to go till that ultimate, whatever we say, no, to what is the relation between Rama and Grama, or what is the relation between Rama and Gamana, what is the relation between Grama and Gamana, to understand this philosophy, we need something. So that whether it be Satya or Mithya, it doesn't matter. So what is our ultimate goal? So we should reach that particular goal. Whatever we take as the mean for that, whether it is Satya or Mithya, it doesn't mean for us. Even if I consider the sun as star or planet, my tithi I will get, isn't it? In the result, it doesn't make any problem. It doesn't create any error. So whether it is star or planet, it doesn't make any problem with us. So this is very interesting thing, and it is, we always remember this line. Satyanrite dve mithunīkritya vartate lokayatra. So here we can sample some Vedic references where we can find some references related to astronomy or astrology also. Better we say Jyotisha. Okay. So Ekavimsha metadaha rupayanti vishuvantam madhye samvatsarasya. This is from Aitareya Brahmana. So here this Vishuvanta word is there, no? This is actually a kind of sacrifice, a kind of rite which goes for 21 days. Ekavimsha. So the day Vishuvat means equinox. I hope all of you know the term equinox. The day when day and night becomes similar in duration. So that is equinox. So it occurs on March 21st now. So before 17 days and Vishuvat day on the day of equinox and after 3 days. So in total it becomes 17, 1 and 3, it becomes 21. So this is that kind of rite which should be performed on these days. So see this Vishuvantam. So and in Kerala also this Vishu is there, no? This Vishu means actually in the period of Varaha Mihira, around 5th century, this equinox was occurring on April 14th. Therefore, actually this now also what we call Mesha Sankramana. In Rashis there are 2 types, Sayana Rashi and Nirayana Rashi. So those things are there. But in the period of this equinox comes behind, means for every 70 years it comes 1 day back. So like that it is there. So therefore that festival also is called as Vishu. And if you go to Assam, they call it as Bihu. So Vishu has become Bihu there, and here it becomes Vishu only. It remains as Vishu only. So see the observation of our Vedic seers that if you have to identify only 2 days, on 2 days such situation comes, no? When the duration of both day and night becomes equal, it becomes only in 2 days in an year. Equinox, that is actually equal, it comes from there. So, if they would not have had observed that closely, they could not have had come up with such expressions. So, that is one thing. And the complete list of 27 stars we can find in Taittiriya Samhita. In Yajurveda, in Rigveda we cannot find the complete list of 27 stars, but in Yajurveda Samhita we can find. So the definition of Tithi also is given there, and in Aitareya Brahmana, and this one also, Darsha, Drishta, Darshana. So in this way it gives the names of some 15 nights. And as I mentioned here, Paurnamasi is Purnima. Paurnamasi to Purnima. So some more examples here. Here you can see a reference for a planet. Brihaspati Prathamam Jayamanaha Tishyam Nakshatram Abhisambabhuva. When for the first time Brihaspati, Guru, Jupiter appeared, he appeared with the Tishya Nakshatra. Tishya means Pushya. Pushya Nakshatra. So if Guru Asara, on Thursday, if Pushya Nakshatra comes, we call it as Amrita Siddhi Yoga. It is very auspicious day because he first appeared in Tishya Nakshatra according to Taittiriya Brahmana. So here we can see the reference for a planet. And Vena, Shukra is termed as Vena in Vedic texts. And this one also is very interesting. Yang kamayeta duhitaram priya syaditi tam nishtyayam dadyat priya iva bhavati. If someone wants his daughter to be dear to her husband, you have to schedule the wedding on Nishtya. Nishtya means Swati Nakshatra. So she will remain Priyaiva Bhavati, dear to her husband. So our future, you can plan accordingly. This is one, and this one also. Yah kamayeta dana kama me praja suriti sapuro phalgunyo ragnimadadhita. In this way also some other references are there. This one I will take in another context also. So let us go further. So this is some little brief explanation of Vedanga Jyotisha. So Vedanga Jyotisha, the date, how we determine based on the reference he gives in the Vedanga Jyotisha text, where he says, Prapadyete Shravishtadu Surya Chandramasa Udak. So Surya Chandramasau, the Uttarayana, begins on the Shravishtadi, in the Shravishta means Dhanishta. So based on this reference, researchers actually tried to date this work, and it goes to 1350 BC. So it is in between 12 BCE and 14 BC. So like that it becomes. So there could be different opinions are there. And some major things that in Vedanga Jyotisha of Lagadha, we can find only Surya and Chandra. Other five planets have not been mentioned. So it is majorly to determine the time, to compute the time, that Tithi, Nakshatra and Masa. And another interesting thing is this Yuga. So in Vedanga Jyotisha, Yuga means a group of 5 years. Yugasya Panchavarshasya, he says. So a group of 5 years. Now actually we say Krita Yuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapara Yuga, Kali Yuga. So according to current definition, that Kali Yuga has 4,32,000 years. And Dwapara Yuga has 8,64,000 years. So in this way it goes. But this definition, for example, there is a mantra in Rigveda, Dirghata Mamamateyo Jujurvan Dashame Yuge. It says that he died, or Jujurvan is the term used, whether died or he got disease, something we have to say. So Dashame Yuge, in his 10th Yuga. So what does it mean if I say that in his 10th Yuga he died, or something happened in between his 45th year to 50th year? So Yuga means a group of 5 solar years. And the commencement of Uttarayana and all has been discussed. And he says, in the Magha Masa, Magha Shukla Prapannasya, an year starts in the Magha Masa, not in the Chaitra Masa. So according to Vedanga Jyotisha, the beginning of Uttarayana is the beginning of a new year. So Magha Shukla Paksha means he is saying that when sun comes to Dhanishta Nakshatra. So when Uttarayana starts, the new year also starts. Now actually our tradition is different, no? So there are some references for another tradition also. See, if it is tradition, it has some diversity. So if it is a tradition, it has some diversity. This is always. So as I said, Vedanga Jyotisha composed in between 12th century to 14th century BC. And later, this Shastra got evolved, and we can find references for the works in some of the texts. For example, Varahamihira mentions many acharyas like Satyacharya and all. And in his Pancha Siddhantika also he mentions 5 Siddhanta works, that Paulisha, Romasha, Brahma, Saura and Vasishtha. Such works are not available. Many of the works which they mention are not available. And some astronomy related things, concepts, can be found in Bauddha and Jaina literature also. Works like Lalita Vistara or Surya Prajnapti, Chandra Prajnapti, these are the Bauddha and Jaina works. So there also we can find many references. When it comes to Varahamihira, 5th century AD, so Varahamihira gives, means he actually composed, now the title is Triskandham Jyotisham, right? So these are the 3 branches of Jyotisha, Siddhanta, Samhita, Hora. So in the period of Varahamihira, the significance of Varahamihira is he composed works in all 3 branches of Jyotish Shastra. So in Siddhanta he composed Pancha Siddhantika, in Samhita he composed Brihat Samhita, in Hora he composed Brihat Jatak, and some other works like Laghu Jatak also is there, and in Samhita also another work is there. But he composed works in all 3 branches, and he has given the definitions of each branch also. what are the subject matter in each of these branches. That also he has given the explanation. So we don't exactly get to know, means we can get some idea how it evolved from the 12th century BCE to 5th century AD. But during the period of Varahamihira, we can clearly get to know that the three branches of Jyotish Shastra got evolved as an independent discipline itself. So that is a beauty, as it is mentioned in the description, that this Jyotish Shastra is a broader umbrella under which several disciplines come. So here, this is from Narada Samhita. This verse is from Narada Samhita. It says, Skandha Trayatmakam Jyotish Shastrametam Etat Shadangat. I am sorry, this is from Prashna Marga of Kerala itself. So, Skandhatrayatmakam Jyotish Shastram etat. This Shastra is of three branches. Skandha means branch. So, three branches. This has Shadanga also. He says that this Shastra again has a Shadanga, 6 limbs also. So, that we can skip. So, we can see what are the three branches. Ganitam, Samhita, Hora, Cheti, Skandhatrayam Matam. So, Ganitam, another name of Ganitam is Siddhanta, and Samhita and Hora. These are the three branches. So here I have given the subject matter of each branch. So Siddhanta deals with astronomy and mathematics. And Samhita, it is Samhita means, the term itself means collection. So Sandhiyante sarva vishayaha athva vibhinna vishayaha atra iti Samhita. It is a collection of various topics. So wherever you find this term, Samhita, you must understand that it is a collection of various topics. Actually, the difference between Samhita and Hora is the prediction of an individual based on his horoscope or based on prashna. So we actually predict someone's future or someone's life based on the birth time or based on the planetary positions of the prashna time. But Samhita is the prediction of a particular region or of a particular country. So it is not for an individual. So therefore, in modern terms, it called as mundane astrology. So it is actually based on some, if I see some Dhumaketus, or based on some other whatever Shakuna we call it as, is omens. So whatever we call. So whatever unexpected things come, based on that some predictions happen. That is not in subject to one particular person. It is subject to one particular grama or desha, like that. So that is one thing. And portents, meteorology. So this is weather forecast. And architecture. And Vriksha Ayurveda also comes, and Muhurta. So such various things are discussed in Samhita branch, and predictive astrology and Muhurta. According to some people, Muhurta falls in Hora. Some people opine that Muhurta finds its origin in Samhita. So some minor variation is there. So here we can see the definition given by Bhaskaracharya in his Siddhanta Shiromani of Siddhanta. Siddhanta sa udahratotra ganita skandha prabandhe budhaihi. This is named as Siddhanta. So the Siddhanta work is such a one which deals with the various measures of time ranging from a truti up to the duration of a kalpa. So the smallest part of the time is truti, and the larger or sthula part of the time is kalpa. So kalpa one kalpa means 1000 mahayugas. One mahayuga means 42,20,000 years. So that is 1 day of Brahma. So this is what said in Jyotish Shastra. So up to that, from Truti and Mana Trutyadi Pralayanta Kala Kalana and Mana Prabheda. To determine the time, we need various measures, right? So that Mana Prabheda, so Sauramana, Chandramana, so different measures. And Charascha Dyusadam, planetary theory. for Tithi and Nakshatra and all, and for the prediction also, we should get the true position of the planets, what we call it as Sputagraha. In the horoscope also, we place Shani is in this Rashi and Surya is in this Rashi. So we should get the true positions of the planets. So all whatever related to that particular computation, that is mentioned here as Dvisadam Charaha, which is planetary theory, and Dvidhacha Ganitam, two types of mathematics. So he explained here arithmetical computations as well as algebraical processes. So Pati Ganita and Bija Ganita, what we use. And there is a very great scholar in Karnataka, Sri Venugopal Herur. In his one of his books, he actually in last 30 years he has done excellent research in Indian mathematics. So in one of his books he says that Pati Ganitam contains arithmetic, mensuration and geometry. It doesn't only mean arithmetics. So it says Anka Ganitam, Kshetra Ganitam and Jamiti. So in this way, this Dvidhacha Ganitam actually covers all the major branches of mathematics. So Dvidhacha Ganitam. Prashnas tatha sottaraha. Sottaraha prashnaha. Questions with respect to intricate ideas and their answers. So see, whatever we say, at the end we must give a valid reasoning. That is the philosophy of any discipline, right? So unless you say, establish the philosophy of your theory, it will not be accepted. So similarly, valid reasoning is a must. So whatever we say that to get the Tithi, this is the formula that multiply by this and subtract by this, whatever we say, we must show the valid reasoning, that Upapatti. So that also is very important. So this Prashnas tatha sottaraha actually meant for that. And Bhudhishnya graha samsthitescha kathanam. And so location of the earth, the stars and the planets must be stated, explained. And yantradi, and after that observation also is important. See, at the end of the day, what I say that moon is there in Ashwini Nakshatra. But in my calculation, I say that moon is in Ashwini Nakshatra. But if you see in the sky, he is there in Swati Nakshatra. Entire thing get vanished. So that yantradi, that observation also is important. And for those observations, these instruments also important. So yantradi yatrochyate, that, so all these things must be discussed in a Siddhanta work. So it also contains computation and projection of the eclipses, planetary conjunctions, graha yuti. So these things also are the part of Siddhanta, which is not stated here. He says Adi. So etc. is there, no, which covers all the untold things. So but if you see the Siddhanta text, all these things got covered. And let us sample some topics from Indian astronomy first, and then we go to mathematics. So first we see our calendar system. As I said earlier, it is rational. Means our calendar system, you can find very interesting things here. Means the names of the months. I will explain this. What is the reason why we named these months as Chaitra, Vaishakha, Jyeshtha, Ashada in this way? So it explained in Surya Siddhanta. It says, if the moon is in Kritika Nakshatra or Rohini Nakshatra on the full moon day, that month should be named as Kartika, Kritika, Kartika. And then Margashira. So if the moon is posited in Mrigashira or Ardra on the full moon day, that month is named as Margashira. And Pausha, if in the same way, if Punarvasu and Pushya Nakshatra, if either in Punarvasu or in Pushya in a month, then that month should be named as Pausha. So in this way, we can find the reason in these names. And as I said earlier, why tomorrow a month gets finished and new month starts, there also we have a reason, valid reasoning that see, our duration is from Amavasya to Amavasya. So it also has as an explanation. Just to compare with the modern calendar, if you you will get the beauty of our calendar system when you compare it with the modern calendar. So here, this was up to 45 BC, the Roman calendar. They used to start the year from March. So, actually, they used to have 10 months only, somewhere it is mentioned. And the days were divided 31, 29, 31, 29 in this way. So, there is no reason why this month is having 31 days or why this month is having 29 days. And the names also, earlier this July was the name Quintilis and Sextilis. It means Quintilis means actually 5th, 6th, Septem means 7, and Octo 8, Novem 9, Decem, if you come to Sanskrit, Septem, Sapta, Octo, Ashta, Novem, Nava, Decem, Dasha. So these were the 7th, 8th, 9th and 10th months respectively. And when Julian Caesar came and he actually made some reformation in the calendar, after that it got a shape, or and even in the 17th century also some correction happened. So, and that time he named the 5th month with his name, July, Julian Caesar. And the next king was Augustus. So he named the next month with his name. And again, the days also, Augustus actually converted this month with, added 2 more days to August. So, the month with my name should not fall back, no? So he actually named this, and February actually lost 2 days for this. Okay, so yeah, so I'm just saying that with the number of the days and with the names also, you can find some. You cannot find some valid reasons, but here we can find. That only I want to say. And again, whatever Europeans have done in astronomy or mathematics, I am not degrading them, but I am actually saying I am actually trying to communicate that whatever very systematic calendar we do have, we don't follow. So that only, I think better we rethink on this. So we shall see the cause of eclipses. And when I was in high school, or and even even now also, whenever this solar or lunar eclipse occurs, in TVs we find a lot of debates that why Rahu comes or why Ketu comes, and some people sit and they do the same debate again. What they are doing in the discussions, they compare our Puranas with modern sciences. See, Purana, the goal of Puranas is not to find the truth, isn't it? Truth means Laukika Satya. Alaukika Satya is there. The goal of Puranas is to find the value, to communicate the values. So whatever it says that Rahu actually swallows moon, or Rahu swallows sun, it is a kind of poetic expression. So you cannot compare the Purana statement with the modern astronomy statement. So if you want to compare, then you have to take Indian astronomy text. So there it is just like watching Rajinikanth movie and saying that it is not rational. And so actually it is just for the purpose of Rajinikanth movie is different. It is not to communicate the science. So, here, if you go back to Indian astronomy texts, so I am actually discussing some basic points, since it is an introductory level discussion. So, these things must be known by everyone. So what Aryabhatiyam says, Chadayati Shashi Suryam, Shashinancha Mahati Bhutchaya, clearly stated. So the moon covers the sun and the huge shadow of the earth covers the moon. So it is according to the modern theory also. And Brihat Samhita also clearly states, at the lunar eclipse, the moon enters the shadow of the earth, and at the solar eclipse, the moon enters the sun. Bhutchayam swagrahane bhaskara markagrahe pravishati induhu, clearly stated. And even in Brihat Samhita, he says, in this manner, evam uparaga karana muktamidam divya drigbhiracharyahi, he goes on saying that in this manner, the ancient seers endowed with divine insight have explained the causes of the eclipses. Hence, the Shastric fact is that the demon Rahu is not at all the cause of eclipses. Rahura karanam asmin, he clearly states, Rahu akaranam asmin. Rahura karanam asmin ityukta shastra sadbhavaha. So, according to Jyotish Shastra, Rahu is not the reason, and the cause of the eclipses clearly stated here. So now, how this Rahu and Ketu came to our horoscopes, isn't it? Because we consider them also as a planet. No. So what actually does it mean? See, these are the two nodes. So here, this is the lunar path, and this is the solar path. Solar path is termed as ecliptic, and this is lunar path. So here, sun is here, this is earth, and the shadow of the earth falls exactly opposite to the sun. If in this place, if moon comes, so this is the path of moon, no? He doesn't enter the shadow of the earth. So no eclipse. So, so lunar eclipse occurs only on the Purnima, but even in all Purnimas, this eclipse doesn't occur, because it falls towards north or south of the moon. If sun is there in the place of node only, and moon also if comes here, so here only the shadow of earth falls, and at that time moon goes into the shadow. So when this eclipse occur, does this eclipse occur? When the moon or the sun is in the node of these two paths, or closer to the node of these two paths, then only this eclipse occurs. Otherwise, no eclipse. So these 2 points have been named as Rahu and Ketu later, just to find some samanjasya between Purana statements and because Jyotisha is Vedanga Shastra, Purana also actually is the explanation of Vedas only. So better we find some kind of samanjasya. So later, actually, this node only termed as Rahu. So this is another matter, but this Shastra actually clearly states that Rahu is not the reason for, or Rahu doesn't cause the eclipses. So this is also very interesting, that winter solstice, when does it become, means when this winter solstice occur. So Lagadha actually says that it is on Dhanishta. So according to our current calendar, it should be on February 6th. Varamira says Makaradi, January 14th, Makara Sankramana. And now actually it occurs on December 21st. And Varahamira clearly says how to observe this the course, the change in the sun's course. So so first of all, I don't know whether you know that what does this Uttarayana mean and Dakshinayana means. Ayanam means movement. So Uttarayana means movement towards north, and Dakshinayana means movement towards south. So the rising point of the sun is not fixed. We say that he rises in the east and sets in the west. But the east point is not fixed. So in Uttarayana, it always moves towards north day by day. Therefore, that period of 6 months called as Uttarayana. And in Dakshinayana, that actually moves towards the south day by day. So that is termed as Dakshinayana. So Varamira in the 5th century, he says that either from observing some distant point in the horizon where sun rises or sets, Durastha Chinna Vedhat, Udavestamaye Piva Sahasramshoho. So they were keen in observation also. That also is very interesting thing. And according to this, Uttarayana doesn't begin on Makara Sankranti. So that also is interesting. And let me take this point and conclude this session. So this is from Aryabhatiyam. He actually states the rotation of the earth. The rotation of earth around its axis. So according to, there is a matabheda in our astronomers itself. Some people say that earth doesn't move. Whatever day and night we get, it is because of the movement of nakshatra chakra. But Aryabhata, for the first time, he claims that how this day and night happens. It's not because of the movement of the nakshatra chakra, it is because of the movement of earth. He gives a very beautiful example. Anulomagatirnausthaha pachyatyachalam vilomagam yadvat achalani bhani tadvat samapaschimagani lankayam. Just as a person in a boat moving forward sees the stationary objects as moving backwards. So when it becomes fastest, when that movement becomes fastest, we feel ourselves as still. And we feel that every object is running backwards. And the best example he could give at his period of time is the boat only. Anulomagatihi nausthaha. Now we can give some train or other kind of examples. So anulomagatir nausthaha, just as a person in a boat moving forward, sees the stationary objects as moving backwards. The stationary stars are seen in Lanka as moving towards the west. Actually, it is Earth which is rotating towards east, but because of the speed, we feel that it is still, and entire set of the stars is actually moving towards the west. So he states this with a very beautiful example. And if you see some other verses also, you can get the duration of a sidereal day given by Aryabhata is 23 hours, 56 minutes and 4 seconds. The modern astronomy also gives this value, which is the difference is very fraction. And the length of a sidereal year, Aryabhata, see, and Ptolemy in the 2nd century are Greek astronomer and the modern astronomy. So this also, Aryabhata's value is closer to modern astronomy's value. So such things also can be found. And another thing is, it doesn't give that 23 hours, 56 minutes. So, and another thing that before concluding, that they have not used these terms, winter solstice, and here also they have not used these terms, 23 hours or 56 minutes. But we must understand this based on when you understand the concepts of the Shastra, then it is given that how many sidereal days in a kalpa, and how many solar days are there in a kalpa, how many solar years are there in a kalpa. So if you do some calculation, you will arrive in this result. So, and some other things are there, those things we will take in the next session. Thank you, very good question. So actually the telescope types of instruments were not there. So telescope actually found by Galileo, and later actually Western astronomy grown in a great speed because of telescope itself. And our instruments were in developing such instruments, we have to say that it was not well equipped. And we can see some chakra yantra and chapa yantra and all. So those instruments were not that equipped. Or that if you compare with the modern instruments, they are very much weaker only. And he says that dhirekam paramarthikam yantram. Bhaskaracharya says, Golo Nadi Valayam Yashtihi. He goes on saying the different instruments. Gola Yantra, Nadi Yantra, Valaya Yantra. If you go to Jantar Mantar, it has our Indian yantras, that it is a very good place to visit, whoever interested in Indian astronomy, that there are some instruments one can find. And Bhaskaracharya says at the end, Dhirekam Paramarthikam Yantram. Your buddhi is the yantra, is an instrument, Paramartha instrument, Paramarthika instrument. Otherwise, with such instruments also, if you don't have that inner eye or that buddhi, you cannot understand. If someone sees the sky, he can find some lights only. He cannot identify Ashwini or Bharani. So those things. But the state and to be frank, those telescope types of instruments were not there. And we have to say that it is. In Vedas, I don't exactly remember those mantras, that Amavasyayahi masan sampadya ahas usrajanti and Purnimayahi masan sampadya aharut, some mantras are there. The meaning, and let me give you a little background of this. So in North India, here in some of these states, after Amavasya, the new month begins. But if you go to North India, in some states, on the day of Purnima, that month gets finished. So Krishna Pratipat, the first day of Krishna Paksha, is the beginning of new month. So after Shravana Purnima, the next day of Shravana Purnima, according to us, is Shravana Krishna Pratipat. But if you go to North India, they call it as Bhadrapada Shukla Pratipat. So this difference is there. And we can find the reference in Vedas itself that both types of this thing is there. And some people give the etymology that Purnamasa is there. No, what is Purnamasa? So when the month becomes Purna, so that day is Purnamasa. Such etymology is also there. And some other etymology also. This mas means Chandra Maha, Ma. So Purnaha Maha Yasyam, iti Purnamasi. This Nirukta also is there. So different Niruktas are also there. And so for Amanta Masa also we can find the references. And for Purnimanta Masas also we can find the references. Remember my statement that if it is a tradition, it has the diversity. So this we can find everywhere. So I think, I hope I have answered this question. According to Amarakosha, Amavasya, Tvamavasya, Darsha, Suryendu, Sangamaha, it clearly says that Darshaha, Suryendu, Sangamaha. It is the conjunction of sun and moon. Amavasya, Tvamavasya, Darsha, Suryendu, Sangamaha. It clearly says. But that Ishti, I have to ask the traditional people who actually perform or who actually knows Mimamsa, that I think that Darsha Ishti should be performed on the next day of Amavasya. I think that might be the reason behind this. Or the etymology can be said in both ways. Drishyete Surya Chandrau Ekatra Saha Sthitau Surya Chandrau Atra iti Darshaha is one etymology. Drishyate Chandraha Atra. If you give this etymology, then it becomes the next day of Amavasya.
Next day.
That also is fine. But and in some places, Vedic terms means some same terms. In Laukika Samskrita, different meaning, and Vedika Samskrita, it has a different meaning. Let me give another beautiful example. Veera term, in Laukika Samskrita, it is Veera, Parakrami. But in Vedika Samskrita, Veera means child. Veero Jayatam, that Vedika Rashtra Gita is there. No, there Veero Jayatam means let children, let us have children in this country. So like that. So as another example, I had shown that Yuga. So in Vedic literature, it has different meaning, and current understanding, it has different meaning. So that might also be possible. Let me check it once again, and if different meaning is there with the darsha also, I will take it in the next discussion. In the night, definitely we can see, and the remaining part can be gotten by the Anumana, isn't it? So the one part we see based on the movement. Once we get the clear understanding of the movement of the planets and the nakshatra chakra also, the remaining part can be understood, can be seen by the inner eye. So, and nowadays we have a lot of softwares also, in mobile also, with those softwares we can see. But at that time, they used to see some different yantras were also there, that chakra yantra and all. Based on that also, we can actually get to know that in which position this particular star is there. We can say that now he is there in this position also we can say. So it is based on, once you get the clear understanding of the movements of the stars, and actually stars means the movement of the nakshatra chakra entirely, because of the Earth's this thing. So you can understand, you can see that from your inner eye. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om.